Hello everyone, it's Anna here as always, and today I have baby themed layout for you. I am a mom of two girls. They are already teenagers, but I love reaching out for the older pictures to scrapbook them too. And I was inspired by this die set, dies that create fancy edges. And I decided to create a row with different edges on the layout. And as you can see, I picked some pink papers, solid pinks, pattern pinks from variety of paper pads from scrapbook.com, and I am trimming them a little bit around 8 centimeters wide, and I'm keeping the A2 size as they were torn out from the paper pads because I measured and the dies I will be using are exactly this size. So A2 paper pad will just match perfectly. Mixing collections, Halloween, baby, spring, all sorts of themes. I just wanted to have a nice variety of pinks. And I am working with my Scout machine. And as you can see, I have a grid mat. This is the magnetic mat that I love using with the dies. I really, really like that it fits perfectly and it holds the die so you don't have to add sticky tape. And I am using the grid to align my die so it starts at the same side and ends. It starts at the same point and ends at the same point of the paper, so it won't be a wonky cricket edge. So this is really, really useful to have this grid in behind. And I cut it out part of it because it took me, I think, 8 or 9 minutes to cut out all the shapes of the edges, which is like very repetitive and simple. So yeah, I have them almost all of them done. Yeah, it was the last one. I'm putting away my die cutting machine and I will be working with the white sheet of paper. This is the mixed media paper from scrapbook.com. I'm running out of the 12 by 12, so yeah, I will be missing this paper. I measured the area where I will want to add the strip of edges, and I reached for Distress Oxide ink. This is the worn lipstick and it's dark. I know it's dark. I somehow misplaced my spoon sugar color, which would be like a better choice. I didn't think it will be that dark, but I decided to go with the flow because most of it will be covered, and it turned out quite okay. And I added the lines so I will not kind of repeat the blending on the area that it will be not be visible. I'm just creating sort of the cloud. I didn't have any specific plan here. I just knew I didn't want to wait until everything dries. That's why I didn't reach for any wetter media. Mm, I just splashed some water on top of it to kind of lift up the pigment and add a little bit of more interest. I was thinking about stencil, but I don't know. I couldn't decide what I wanted. I wanted to add hearts on top of it, but yeah, the dots are quite white after the color was released, and I decided it's enough. I don't want to overdo it. And where it needed like few minutes to dry because I already took out the moisture with the towel, and I'm just arranging all the edges. They will look sort of like this. I just need to glue them down to the paper. And while I was adding the pink ink on the background, you may wonder why I had piece of blue tape stuck to my fingers. It's because, I don't know why, it's probably because of the formula. distress oxide hate your fingerprints on the paper. So if you are blending, they will pick up where is the area where you were touching the paper, and it will show. This is something I don't like. That's why I decided to just cover my fingertips with a piece of the tape. You can use a piece of paper, whatever it's most convenient for you. I just like the tape because it sticks to my fingers and I don't need to kind of move it around. It just moves with my hand. And now let's go back to the process. I'm gluing down all the pieces of papers, and I'm just applying glue on the back side. I'm not applying glue on the edge because I wasn't sure if I didn't want to ruffle it a little bit. And I'm using a T ruler to keep the straight line. Of course, you can just keep the the pencil mark, but it's not that visible under the blending, so I decided to just keep this ruler to keep a straight line when gluing down all the strips of papers. And I proceed up. So I started with the bottom one because every other one overlaps the previous one, so it was like the most logic way to start. And I'm almost done. I think I'm two strips. I don't think I added the last one because I didn't have the space for the last one, so I dropped it. It's not a problem because, you just needed to fill this. No, I added the last one. Sorry, I didn't remember it. I did this layout few years, if not few years, few days ago. So yeah, and I am old lady. My memory is not as good as it used to be. Now it's time to trim the excess part of the paper on top and on the bottom. And we are ready for another step, which is, I don't remember. I will have to wait for the video to move on and proceed, and then I will see what I did next. Well, I know what I did on the whole page, but I wasn't sure what was it exactly in what order I did. So I will be creating a title using those bold letters dies, and you can use them as a standalone dies because they cut really, really nice size of big letters, but they fit the stamp sets that I already have, and I can use them both, and I probably will someday. And those are bold letters stamps and bold letters outline stamps. So we have like three different products. A bold letter stamp is a solid color. Bold letter outline stamp is just the line, the outline of each letter, and you can combine them together to add this kind of definition to the edges. You can use any of those separately. And then you have a die that will help you cut out any letters, or you can just use cardstock and cut colorful letters with just dies. And there are also numbers in this series, and just keep in mind that the dice are sold in 4 different packs. So we have letters A to K, I think. You know, if you want to collect the whole alphabet, you will have to purchase 3 sets. Plus, if you would like the numbers and special signs like exclamation and so on, you would have to purchase the 4th set. So the same is with the stamps. Bold letters and bold numbers are 4 different packaging, and outline letters, outline numbers are again 4. So you will have to keep it in mind. It may cost you a lot if you would like to complete the whole collection, but if you are making layouts like I do, I promise you, you will reach for those letters quite often because I was missing letters as big as those. I have many alpha dies, but they are kind of a inch at most, and those are amazing. They are more than 2 inches. So I used this glossy cardstock to cut out the letters, and I'm backing each of them with pieces of foam to add dimension to my page, because as Carissa Wiley says, dimension is life. She's a great card maker, and I watch her videos when I scrapbook. So yeah, she always sings this part, but I won't. I'm not as brave as Carissa. So I'm just adding the letters, gluing them down, because as you asked, I do not edit my videos as much. I try to keep most of the process in the video, so some parts are a little bit repetitive and boring, but then I have more time to blab to you. Sometimes it may be important, sometimes I'm just thinking of the ways to kind of cover the awkward silence. But in this instance, I just wanted to talk to you about those stamps and dies. And the title will be First Smiles. And I reached for this sticker book. I have 5 of those with different colors. And I added the word first. I was going to die cut it with different set of alpha dies, but I don't know, I was a little bit lazy. I found that I have the white alpha stickers, so why not? I just went with it. And I also glued down the pictures. I have 2 photos of my daughter Maya. She was such a cute baby then, and it was when she was about 2 months, when the baby starts smiling to you back, and she was throwing some amazing smiles. I snapped pictures. Some of them were blurry, which is like a biggest regret because they were so cute, but I managed to find few quite not so blurry pictures, and I have this page. I will embellish everything with those, I think they are called Darling ribbons. They are from scrapbook.com, as most of the products I am using here. And I just rubbed the pieces of this sheet onto the white cardstock, and I will be fussy cutting them. So I'm basically creating my own ephemera pieces. And with this kind of ribbons, I think it's the best way of using them up, because you can rub them directly on the cardstock, but then you will have to have like a one layer, one dimension type of project, which I am barely creating. So yeah, this is how I usually use the ribbons, unless those are like a smaller elements like those hearts or stars. I then wrap them directly on the background. And I was using the bone folder for the first one, thinking it may work better, but then I moved back to this wooden stick that is included into each pack, and it worked better than the bone folder. And there are 2 sheets of those adorable creatures in this pack. One sheet I already previously wrapped, and I cut and fussy cut it. One evening I was just not feeling scrapbooking, but I wanted to do something, so this is what I did back then. And then I'm just adding 2 more. I'm not sure if I will use them all on this page, but I am just prepared to have a choice. And I'm doing the same with the bunny. There is also a matching die set with the same bunny and the same bear, bear. And you can customize the colors. And this is what I was going to do at first, but I already did a lot of die cutting for this page, and I felt like it taking me ages to finish it, so I decided to use ribbons instead. They are like more details on the ribbons than I would be able to achieve with die cuts, with creating my own die cuts. So I have those, and I will be able to embellish my page a little bit with something cutesy. This is the stage we are at right now. And my page is pink mostly, but the beige matches with pink as it's a neutral color, so you can just mix and match. And I'm just picking what will fit best my design, and I decided to use those few little bunnies, bears, and uh, storks. I would say stork, but it's not a stork because it doesn't have a stork's color, but let's assume it's stork, but just beige. So I'm gluing down with everything with, of course, foam tape. I'm using up tons and tons of foam tape, and there are projects that I can use up the whole new sheet of foams, especially if it's like a very dimensional sort of the frame or, something that goes on the wall. Yeah, this is where I'm just losing my mind like crazy. I'm investing a lot into the foam squares. That's why I like using pieces of cardboard to kind of cut out a costs a little bit because the cardboard is much, much cheaper than adding foam squares. And I'm always buying 2 millimeter thick. I think 1 millimeter is just too little, and 3 millimeters is already a lot. And especially if you like to build layers, so 1, 2, 3, you will get like a centimeter high design. And if you are making layouts or cards, it's of course too much. But for frames and sort of stuff like this, that you don't have to limit yourself with your dimension. I, of course, like to reach for the bigger guns, so 3 millimeters then. After gluing everything down, I am going back to my ribbons and picking some tiny little hearts, ribbons, hearts, bows, not ribbons, bows. And I'm just looking for the ones in pink color because there are pink, yellowish, and blue elements in the set, so I'm just going into pinks. If I would have a boy, I would make this page in blue or navy, and you could kind of use the same animals because they are neutral, they are beige. Uh, Now I have a piece of sanding paper in my hand, and because this is something I tell a lot, the papers from scrapbook.com have the white core, so when you smudge the edges with sandpaper, you will kind of have this white showing from underneath, which I like. It adds extra texture. And this is the die I was talking about. This is the die with bear and bunny, but I only reached for the cloud to give my creatures some anchor because they were floating sort of in the midair, and I felt that they needed something extra to ground them. That's why they will be sitting on the clouds. Not that this is like an accurate, because you can't sit on the cloud, but in my dream world, you can, like Care Bears. Do you remember the Care Bears? I haven't seen this cartoon for ages, but when I was little, I remember I loved Care Bears. They were not very popular here. We didn't have those cute little bears you can purchase in shops back then, but now I have seen them, and it will be probably a dream come true if I would be a little girl to have a cute little Care Bear. Uh, After gluing 3 clouds, which I didn't record, but it's a very simple process. I'm gluing down those puffy hearts. They are from Coca Vanilla Studio from, I think, Storyteller collection. They were just lying on my desk and I needed to add little something something. And then I reached for this is Pops of Color glitter version unicorn tears. I'm not sure. Something with unicorn. Just a little pinkish delight. and I added some drops here and there. But what I noticed when it dried, it kind of sort of have this orange underlying. So proceed with caution with this one. If you would like to have this baby pink, it will not dry as a baby pink. Plus, remember, it's transparent color. So when you put it on distress oxide, it's a little bit wet, so it can kind of, you can see the orangeness in those little drops. So it will kind of remove the color from behind a little bit. And here is the finished project. Thank you so much for staying with me. Check the description box for all the links. If you have any questions, as always, you can ask them in comments or email me. You can find the email in the description box too. I'm always happy to listen to your suggestions for the future videos. It may help me if I will be stuck with figuring out what to do next. So see you soon in next week.